Today we're going to talk about Cron, which is a scheduler that's available in Unix and Linux. This came up this week. Someone asked me to take them through and show them how to create a cron job. And so I thought, hey, this is probably a good topic for a video for everyone else. So here we are. So cron is your scheduling tool you use with Unix and Linux. It comes with the base operating system. And what you can do is schedule tasks to run at different intervals based on the schedule that you provide. So how do you edit this? There's something called a cron tab, and the way to get access to cron tab, which is a user-specific setting, so each user has their own cron tab. By default, it would be empty. So you'd have if you did cron tab-l on a system that you had not set up cron before, you come up with an empty listing. And what you could do is redirect the listing. Let's pretend there's something in there and redirect it to a file. I'm calling it my cron. And then what I can do is edit that file with your editor. So I use VI, and I just go in and add, remove, or change cron tab entries in that file. And then you save the changes and make them effective by saying cron tab, typing in cron tab, and then the name of the file, which was my cron that I edited. So what are the components? You have to give the job a time, which specifies when it should run. The minute, the hour, the day, the month, and the day of the week are the options that you're going to be able to set. And then you give it the command. So this is a script or the program or command that needs to be executed at the scheduled time. And optionally, you'll set an environment variables or set of environment variables that are needed to be set in the context to run a job. So, for example, like where's your path setting, or where you might find where libraries are in the system. You need to specify that so that when the system wakes up and is able to execute the job, it knows how to set up the environment. So in the cron tab entry, again, we're going to set the minute, we're going to set the hour to run, we're going to set the day. In this case, you see there's a star here. That means every day. So you can specify either a value or a wildcard, which is the star. And you can give it a month, a weekday, and then you give it the path to your script. So here's an entry. This is going to run at 12 or 3 o'clock in the morning exactly every day of the month and every day of the week, and we give it the path to our script. Environment setup. Cron jobs are have a limited environment, so it's important to set up the necessary environments to run your jobs in cron tab. A very common value to set is your path, so it knows how to find various scripts or programs that are on your system. So it needs to be able to find those executables. It's usually best to use absolute paths, especially in the script and the command that you're running, so that they can be found regardless of where they are on the system. And then what you want to do is redirect the output of those scripts so that they go to a log file somewhere. I usually direct them to /temp, and instead, because if it goes to dev null, you're not going to be able to read anything. So I usually specify a file in /temp, and I direct my output to those to that directory on the system, and I will redirect standard error and standard out to the same file. Some common issues, what you can do is you can check the logs. So there's normally it's in /var/logs, and then you'll see a cron, and it'll tell you the history of what was going on with when cron was executing your scheduled tasks. It's always best to run the cron job manually at the command line just to make sure that works, because if that doesn't work, you're probably not going to get your cron job to run. And then you inspect the environment. So you just make sure that all the variables are set correctly so that you're able to find the executables or where libraries might be set on your system. So you can enable verbose logging. That's an option of the cron daemon executable. So you can enable the detailed debugging, and you could add debug statements to your script so that you can identify any issues. So you can have echo commands inside your scripts if it's a shell, or if it's like a program you're running, you can put print commands in it. And then you can configure email notifications when jobs fail, making it easier to stay on top of your problems. So really, it's a very simple scheduler that's available in all Linux and Unix systems. You want to test your cron jobs thoroughly before and after you put them into production, and then you want to monitor them and make sure that they're running as expected. And then you want to regularly back up your cron tab to avoid losing your scheduled tasks. So that command I gave you at the beginning, cron tab -l, you could redirect it to a file and keep that somewhere safe on your system.